Hi everybody, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to our facilitated flexibility session where we are going to focus on hip and lower body details. What we will start with is a little bit of foam rolling and self-myofascial release. So please make sure that you have your foam roller and a tennis ball available for this training session. Anything else you might want in terms of a mat, blanket, or padding for your knees will be entirely up to you. After we do a really good detailed foam rolling session, we'll move into some dynamic and static holding exercises to help encourage the joints and encourage the neuromuscular system to expand. So I'm going to come to a sitting position. Please join me here. I'm setting my timer for about 30 to 35 seconds of rolling on each body part. So as you're ready, come on back to low ribs. Cradle your head in your hands and raise your hips up and start moving from your lowest pairs of ribs up towards a bony notch at the nape of your neck. As you move up and down the length of the mid-upper back, you can roll to the left, you can roll to the right, and just make this one feel good. I do realize that I just said we would do some lower body detail and then sent us into the back, but this is just a really nice, sweet way to start any session. So as we move, please remember to use slow, controlled ranges of motion. We'll do a few more seconds here. And now bring yourself up to sitting. Come to sitting on your foam roller. And let's slide the foam roller under one sitting bone. I'm going to start with my left leg. You can start with whichever one. And let's go from the sitting bone down to about mid-thigh. So let's go, make sure you go all the way sitting bone, mid-thigh, roll to the outer edge, roll to the inner edge. And we're going to do hamstring here. And then what we're going to do is stay on this same leg and work our way around the hip joint. All right. Couple more seconds. Now, as you return to your left sitting bone, keep your feet separate, tip your knees to the left, and go from the sitting bone up to the back brim of the pelvis. Come over the gluteus maximus muscle and a whole bit of the rotator muscles in there. Maybe rock from side to side a little bit. And with our 30 to 40 seconds of duration, we want to get a really good moderate to vigorous intensity effort here. So for intensity, if we're using a 1 to 5 scale, with 1 being nothing and 5 being pain, try to get your intensity level to about a 3.5 or a 4. Now stay on the same leg still, but roll all the way to the outer edge. Flip your top leg over. Find your hip bone, your thigh crease, and go to mid-thigh. Okay. Yep. From hip crease to mid-thigh. Don't worry about getting too close to the knee. We want to try and stay on the connective muscles and the muscles themselves, the tissues up near the hip joint a little bit more for today. So again, nice smooth motion. Use your top leg and your bottom arm to help gauge intensity with the weight of your body. Keep on the same leg, roll all the way over, kick your right leg out to the side and do a froggy position, and let's work on the quadriceps. From the thigh crease, roll to about halfway or a third of the way down. Again, maybe turn your leg in and turn your leg out to come to outer fibers and inner fibers. Now stay facing forward here. Come to mid-thigh and go from mid-thigh closer to your knee. So let's take this next round to roll across some of the lower fibers of the quadriceps. Again, turn the toes out and turn the toes in a little bit to get to the inner edges and the outer edges, but bring this closer to the knee joint rather than towards the hip. Now as we switch to the second leg, stay facing forward, other quadricep. Do the lower half. So we'll work our way in reverse now. circling our way around the second hip. Again, work the intensities and note that you might need to push a little bit more on some body parts. You might need to back off on other body parts to keep your intensity in that 3.5 to 4 range. So we want to make sure we are encouraging the nervous system and the neuromuscular system to expand, not trying to coerce them into action. Come on up to the upper fibers, from mid-thigh all the way up to the thigh crease. So your thigh crease is that place where your thigh bone inserts to your hip socket. We got some great tendons that run into that area, merge with the muscles themselves, and are home to just tons of great nerve endings. So work with them. Maybe sweet talk them a little bit, encourage them. Give them some words of kindness. And our next transition in a couple of seconds is going to come to the right outer hip. So turn onto the right outer hip. Your left leg is flipped over the top, and move again from your thigh crease down about 1/3 to halfway. Try to keep your focus and your effort on these places where the tendons and the muscles come together, and on the muscles themselves. We get a little bit more bang for our buck focusing on the muscles than we do just trying to roll over the IT band. Few more seconds here. And now circle around, come onto your right glute. Find your right sitting bone. Tip the legs to the right side and work over the diagonal lines, some of the more horizontal lines, by going from sitting bone all the way up to top rim of the pelvis, maybe a little bit of tilting side to side. And shift yourself around. You may have noticed a few times I've had to move my foam roller around and reposition myself in space. That can happen while we do this kind of work. So just either follow your foam roller around the room or shift it around to make adjustments. And then come on to sitting. Place your foam roller at your right sitting bone. And let's finish this one here with hamstrings again. From sitting bone, make sure you come all the way up until about midway down. It can become very tempting to get really short and only be rolling over 1, 2, or 3 inches. But try to work full, complete, controlled ranges of motion here. A few more seconds. All right. Now, as we end this part, set your foam roller aside and reach for your tennis ball. We're going to give a little bit of love to the calves. So place your tennis ball right up near your knee, and we're going to come over the muscle belly of the gastrocnemius. So you're going to go with the muscle fiber for today. Right. Come up behind the knee, roll down through the muscle, and maybe turn your toes out, turn your toes in, get to the inner edge, the outer edge, see where the sweet spots or sticky spots might be for you. And as you continue to roll, find that 3.5 to 4 for your intensity, make it smooth and controlled. We're not trying to beat the knots out, we just want to smooth and encourage them to let go a little bit. And then let's switch legs. So do make sure, again, come up behind the knee, and over the belly of the muscle. So as you keep rolling, remember, we don't really need to come down here onto the Achilles tendon, not onto the tendon itself. Stay over onto kind of the bump, the belly of the muscle here. Oh, that's good stuff, isn't it? Some days more than others, but. And we'll finish up this round. You can set the tennis ball aside. And let's make our way to an all-fours position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Toes can be tucked or pointed back. Choose which position you'd like. And focus on the pelvis as you lift your tailbone up and point your navel down. Reverse and round now. Pull your navel up and in. Slide the tailbone down. And start exaggerating from these pelvic tilts. Moving your pelvis up and over the thigh bones. And then once you have your pelvic rhythm in place, add in the rest of your spine. So as your tailbone tucks down, round your spine towards the ceiling. And as you reverse the tip of the pelvis, navel down, chest forward and down, head up. Let's alternate here a couple more times. Again, the whole back benefits, but for today, initiate and lead the way through the front to back rhythm of the low back, the pelvis, and the thigh bones. Maybe one more time each direction. And as you bring your spine into a neutral position, please take your hands wider. If you're on a sticky mat, they'll definitely be off the sticky mat, but wider than shoulders. Bring your knees closer together, and this time do point your toes back. Shift the weight of your hips behind your knees to come off of your kneecaps and sway side to side, making this rolling motion across your shins as small or as big as you can. So keep the weight of your hips behind your knees to the best that you're able. Roll across the shin bones, the fronts of your ankles and your shoelaces, and reach your glutes towards the far corners of the room behind you. A little bit of side bending for the spine, hint of rotation. And as we do a couple more rounds here, just find a little bit of side to side rhythm for the low back, the pelvis, over the thigh bones. Let's go one more time side to side, or whatever you need to balance yourself out from right side to left side. And come on back to center, all fours, and take your right leg, sweep it around in front of you, hit the heel down, point the toes back, and then pick up and rearrange to any degree that you're fairly comfortable from your back foot to your front heel. Come on up, and let's hold in a static position a nice bit of elongation and stretching for the thigh, all the way up through the hip flexors, all the way up through the stomach into about the mid-back here. So as you take a few breaths here, push down through the back shoelaces so that the back knee is touching but not bearing all the weight of your body by itself. Hit down through the front heel so that you feel really stable up through the front knee, and have a sense of work that is both successful and challenging here up through the pelvis. Take a few more breaths here. And then bow forward to the inside of your front leg, sweep back, and we'll switch sides. If you have other favorite ways to enter this, you can feel free to use those. This is just one of many entrances. So again, pick up the back knee, work with the back toes, place the front foot so you feel secure and steady, and then come on up. Hips are more forward than sideways. Chest is aiming more forward than sideways. And again, start with paying attention to the back foot. Push through the back foot or toes enough that you're lightening the load in the knee, but it's still touching down. You're feeling this kind of swirling line of stretch up through the thigh, hips, pelvis, all the way maybe up into your mid-back. Hold the posture tall, and let's take a few more breaths here. Now we're going to bow forward to the inside of this front leg and walk it wider than hip distance. All right, so now with the hands down, lift the heart and the head up, and you have two options. You can keep your back knee down like mine is right now, or you can tuck your toes and lift your back knee up. Either one of them is going to work. Look forward and stay right here in a lizard lunging position, or you might start to bend your elbows and come to a forearm, maybe one of each. And wherever you're at, whether your back knee is up or down, make your spine long, reach your chest forward, and make your neck and head a natural extension of the rest of your spine. Knee up or knee down. Let's take a few more seconds here. Breathing in and out, holding, and just encouraging the neuromuscular system to see what's possible. To let it know that this is okay. We meant to do this on purpose. If your back knee is lifted, drop it down. Sweep back to exit through all fours, and we have to go back to the first side for the second exercise. Come into your lunging position again with your foot wider than it was before. Back knee down or back knee lifted. Long spine, head and heart forward. Stay up on your hands or start to make any degree of descent. Make sure it's happening through your hips and your chest, not just your head. So when you find that place into which you want to spend your time today, do it to the best of your ability, and we're going to work together for a few more seconds. Lower the back knee. Sweep the front foot back through all fours. Come on to sitting. Let's meet here. And bring the soles of your feet together into a butterfly stretch. Your feet may be about 1 foot distance between your heels and the pelvic floor, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And then as you hold on to your shins, your ankles, or your feet, use that to lift your low back in and up. Find really good posture. As your low back moves in and up, take your knees out and down. Imagine there's magnets on your outer knees and the floor is made of steel. Low back in and up. Knees out and down, and then hinge forward at your hips, bringing your navel into the diamond shape of the legs. Arms can touch or lightly press the legs or come in front of the legs. And keep drawing the navel down first, reach the chest forward. Come into that point of a comfortable discomfort for yourself here, right? So if we're still using that scale of 1 to 5 of intensity, continue to bring yourself into that 3.5 or 4 position. Place the body skillfully and carefully into position, and then allow the brain to talk to the muscles, allow the brain to talk to all the body parts and know that this is possible, potential, as a new normal point. And then keep the spine nice and long. Return to a sitting position. Let's take both legs out in front. And I'm going to bend up my right leg. Give it a crisscross over the left. Sit up nice and tall again. Low back in and up. Nice tall posture through the sternum. And point your kneecap to the sky as much as you're able to, maybe with the assistance of your hands. Now take the left arm up and let's twist and turn into the thigh. As the arm wraps around, take your right hand back as a second spine of support. Take a few breaths here into the spinal twist, which is also a really nice hip opener. And then unwind your twist, come on back through center. Uncross the first leg, heading to the second side. Left leg will bend in. Cross the left leg over, secure it to the ground, lift up nice and tall. Right? And as you draw your ribs towards your front inner thigh, raise up the opposite arm, give it a little rotation to hold the leg in place, and then spiral through the midsection through to sitting twisting position. Yeah. So the twisting postures get a lot of benefit and kind of press for what they do for the spine. There's actually a lot of nice hip opening that happens in that relationship from the thigh through the hip joint up into the pelvis and the low back when we twist as well. Take maybe 2 or 3 more. Good breaths here, holding yourself in position. And then unwind and bring yourself back to a center point, both legs long. And maybe shift from side to side as you need to find your sitting bones and the fleshy part of your buttocks on the floor with your feet out, soles of the feet shining forward, toes to the sky. Lift your low back in and up again, and we're going to hinge at our thigh creases to come into a forward fold. So come slowly so that you're bringing your navel to your kneecaps first, And then your chest and chin towards your shins. And then you can tip the face to look down so that the crown of your head reaches out beyond the soles of your feet. As we hold here, bring just a little bit slight contraction to the fronts of the shins and the fronts of the thighs to help press your legs into the floor. And use the strength of your legs to reach your sacrum back and your sternum forward to elongate through the spine and fold through the lumbar, pelvic, femur, thigh bone region. Reach forward with the head and the chest. Come on back up to sitting. And scoot yourself forward or around as you might need to lower onto your back. Head back, shoulders back, tailbone down. Take your feet a little wider than hip distance. Arms can go anywhere they feel safe and supported. And sway the legs from side to side a couple of times. Rolling from one side of the pelvis through the back to the other side of the pelvis. Thigh bones moving gently through space like windshield wipers in an easy rain. Make sure to balance yourself from left side to right side, maybe one more time each direction. And as you bring your legs back up through center, stretch your legs out onto the floor as well. Sweep the arms up overhead. And let's come into a boomerang stretch position. So walk your legs to the right. Tip your torso to the right. And with your legs squeezing together, lengthen your spine. And with your right hand, hold your left forearm. Give the left forearm just a little bit of a pull and take a few breaths around the entire left side of the body from your left pinky finger all the way down to your left pinky toe. And then return the torso to center. Walk your legs through center. Let's head to the second side. Walk the legs and feet over to the left. Tip your torso a little bit to the left, sliding along the floor with the arms overhead. Squeeze your legs, lengthen your spine, and with your left hand now, hold on to the right forearm and give just a little bit of a gentle pull. Again, breathe through the entire right line of the body here. From foot to leg, leg to torso, torso through upper arm, all the way out through the hand. Release the upper body, return the legs to center position, and bend your knees, placing your feet on the floor. Just let your thighs stay in space or let them drop in subtly to touch towards the midline. Place your hands anywhere that they feel comfortable, and just take a few breaths here in a constructive rest position. A moment for your mind and for your body to come together and just absorb the benefits of your efforts here today in this session. Even just give yourself the gift of a few moments to do nothing on purpose. Take one more moment here to please thank yourself as much as I thank you for very intentionally carving out this time today, for doing some exercises, getting yourself moving, and using this as a part of your systems of self-care. As you're ready, roll to one side, press up to a seated position, and we will finish our session from here. Thank you so much, and I will look forward to seeing you again soon.